Welcome to the Move to Impact webinar for about cost-effective consulting for CSRD compliance. Before we start, we prepared an exercise so to fill in, like, finding out which option suits you, so that we can put that in the chat, and then later on we can read at the end to put more questions on the part that is coming out of the quiz. So I give you now the time to go to this link with help of the link that you see in the screen, or with help of the QR code to fill in the quiz, which is just like I think a 1 minute thing to do, so that we eventually at the end can talk about those options. So I will put it in the chat briefly as well, the link, so that we can talk about that at the end. So if you could please jump into in the link that I sent, then I will continue my story further while you're filling it in. Because what are we going to talk about today? Well, I will shortly tell about who are we as Move to Impact, and briefly about the CSRD. And then more discuss about what are the different cost-effective options in consulting to prepare for CSRD, and see how to discuss the budget needs that you might have in order to prepare for this. So about Move to Impact, who are we? We are a consultancy that focuses on the CSRD, and we're not just the average consultancy. We provide tooling, consulting, and training. We are a mix of sustainability consultants and data consultants, because what we acknowledged while preparing for the CSRD with our clients, that it's a mixture of needing to know what is the sustainable impact, but also preparing your organization with data collection in order to set up the report. Our clients are not just companies that prepare for CSRD or SMEs that want to prepare for CSRD, but we also give advice and training to other consultancies that want to continue on CSRD in their own portfolio. And we also give training to auditors how to think about the CSRD, what can they expect while auditing it, etc. Well, we didn't do this just for one. We did it already for more than 100 companies. We started with the pioneers in the different industries, as in this fashion industry, but also in the flower industry. But currently we're helping multiple industries, as in think about food, think about furniture, think about books, think about logistics. So we are not focused on a specific industry. We are really focused on the CSRD in general. So, here are some of our clients or people we're working with. And, I'm quickly going to tell something about the CSRD, but I kind of expect that, being interested in this webinar, that you'll know a bit. But what is the CSRD? It's a regulation that obligates organizations which are large companies, which in the categories of more than 250 employees, more than 225 million revenue balance sheet, and more than 50 million revenue. 2 out of 3 criteria. Those are in the large companies. And what do they have to do? They need to set up a sustainability report based on the European Sustainability Reporting Standards. And it's a European law which almost 50,000 companies in the European Union have to comply with. However, since it's a European law, they want to avoid that companies go outside of the European Union with their headquarters. So from 2028 on, companies that are outside of the EU but have 150 million net turnover in general, or 50 million turnover in just in European Union area to territory, they also need to comply with the CSRD. So it's a regulation that's going to, ask a lot of companies to prepare for the sustainability reporting. Well, how are we as Move to Impact helping organizations to prepare? We identified companies need a clear structure of what is coming, since the sustainability report feels a bit vague and what's the process towards it. So we set up an 8 phases method, which you can see on the screen, which is divided up in several steps, which make it more understandable for a company how to prepare for it. When we developed it, we tested it with both auditors and data and ESG experts in order to see whether it's a valid method. And even nowadays, you can become certified within a registry together with the SRFA, which is a corporation that really focuses on quality in the financial and controlling field. So the 8-step method is now also proven. But what is this about? Well, you can divide it up in 3 stages: the design stage, the implementation stage, and the reporting stage. The first 3 steps in the design stage are more about, what will eventually be in the report and how to organize the organization to prepare for it. So in the first phase, the project preparation, it's all about informing people about the CSRD, setting up a project team, maybe creating a steering group that has authority to make decisions later on in the project, so really form the base of the project. Then it's about the current company KPIs. So already identifying what is there in the organization. Do we already have a environmental vision, a social vision? Is there already data collected on certain KPIs, so that later in the gap analysis, it's more logical to just take the list out of the current company KPIs phase and see what is missing. Then we dive into the double materiality analysis, which is an analysis that has as a result a list of impact topics, which what are the risks and opportunities that the organization is causing for planet and society, but also what is the financial impact of certain risks and opportunities that are happening outside of the organization in planet and society on the organization itself. So it's like a double materiality, as an impact materiality and financial materiality. Well, then it's the end of the design stage, because then you know, okay, what are the material topics for the organization? Because you need them in order to jump into the ESRS requirements phase. The ESRS requirements phase is all about the European sustainability reporting standards and identifying, okay, which standards are relevant for our organization do we have to report on, in order to go to the next phase, which is the preparing data collection phase. Here we really set up working groups and see, okay, who knows about which data, in order to answer the reporting requirements from the sustainability reporting standards. In this preparing data collection phase, it's also all about preparing data definitions, looking into, okay, where to store the data, talking with IT, as in, okay, how to prepare for the upcoming years. Because then we go to the 6th stage, and the last stage of the implementation stage. It's the continuous data collection. In this phase, we think about, okay, how to make sure that in the future, this is not like this huge project that you have to set up the first year, but that it's continuous data collection, maybe automate certain things, but also have proper processes and how to collect the data in order to make the report at the end of the year. And then we go to the reporting stage. In the reporting stage, it's all about, as it says, reporting. The 7th phase of the 8th phase program is the impact dashboard, which is all about the sustainability steering KPIs. Since one of the requirements of the legislation is to really show that you as a company are really steering on sustainability KPIs, which means that you have to identify, okay, what are we during the year going to steer on, and not just wait for the annual sustainability report at the end to see the progress, but have some steering mechanism in order to, well, look during a month or a quarter how the organization is doing. And then we are at the final phase, the CSRD report, or the annual sustainability statement, which is about combining all the effort that has been put into making sure that the texts represent what's required in the disclosure requirements from the ESRS, and being able to deliver the report, including the audit trail that has been set up for the auditor. Are there any questions about this? No. Let's see. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the chat. But for now, okay, then I will continue. Because then we dive into the part where this webinar is all about, the cost-effective consulting options. Because to prepare the organization for CSRD, of course, you can just do it by yourself, but since the double materiality analysis is new for a lot of companies, but also the CSRD in general, maybe sustainability is totally new, how to report on it. Often people are like, okay, we need a consultant, or at least someone that tells us what to do. Well, we identified multiple options how to do this, because we think like the general perception of how a consultant works can be done different. Because what are the different options? Well, the first option, which is also the most expensive, is like having a full CSRD project consultancy, as in a consultant that's doing the full project, taking you along, and preparing everything for you, which means also the workload within the organization is a lot less. However, it's all about setting up operational and reporting processes. So when a consultant tells you, well, we will take care of everything and you don't have to do anything, be prepared, because you're taking a subscription for a consultant, since you're totally dependent on them. So that's the full, just the full consultancy, being supported along the way. Then there's also the option to have support by specialized freelancer. As in, you heard in the 8 phases that I talked about, there are a lot of like, first is more focus on an analysis, then more on data, then more on setting up the report according to the ESRS. Like, there are different expertises and skills involved. So you could also say, okay, I want support by a specialized freelancer in a specific part, and let us guide them through them. Also an option, maybe a bit less, because you're taking care of the project managers yourself, but still. Well, then there's also the option to have a junior consultant with support of Move to Impact. I will talk about this later, but having like, maybe you're not having enough capacity, but you don't want to hire like an expensive consultant or a freelancer, but want someone to be like daily working on it, but shouldn't be too expensive. But it's quite a project, so how to do this? Well, we always say that we can also work with juniors to really support them in managing the project, which makes it less costly. And last but not least, we have the do-it-yourself with our tools, because we created like a whole toolbox and different ways in order to do the CSRD preparation without a consultant. That's also how we give trainings, etc. So I will now further dive into the different options. Because, the first option, like I said, can be done with us as well. It's like full support through along the journey. What we also often see is that companies, for example, already started with the project preparation and identification of what's in the company, but then are like, I want to do a materiality analysis. I don't know how. Okay, I need a consultant, or I did a double materiality analysis, but well, what's next? The European Sustainability Reporting Standards. I don't understand anything of it. How to continue? So with consultancy, it's always, of course, custom. So you can ask like, okay, this is where we are. Let's continue where we've been. Well, we had moved to impact since we have a mixture of data consultants and impact consultants. We can support along the whole way and always jump in where and if needed. But how we do this? Well, we always say we are not there to take away the work. We tell you how to structure it. We'll do workshops because we really want to learn, like teach the organization how to do it themselves. As in, this is not something that has to be done like only once. This will be an annual thing every year, maybe even every month. Things have to be collected or set up so that we come and help to set up the process in order to work towards sustainability reporting. Since we do this at multiple companies, we created templates to make the time you spend on it shorter, so that you really can just fill in the templates and move on. What we also noticed is that a lot of organizations are not starting with the double materiality analysis yet. So what, if I'm saying DMA, by the way, it's double materiality analysis. So we started with the DMA in 1 week, where we really looked at, okay, how can we split up this materiality analysis in, in chunks so that it can be done as soon as possible, so to continue, especially since the deadline is coming closer every day. So that's more in the consultancy. But how to work with specialized freelancers, as in, where do you find them? Well, as I told you before, we're training freelancers, but also other consultants, as in consultancy agencies, how to prepare for CSRD. Because of this, we have like a whole network of more than 60 freelancers that are familiar with how to prepare for CSRD, but also acknowledge maybe that they just want to work on certain parts, like I talked before about, maybe just support the data collection, or maybe just do the double materiality analysis, or write the CSRD report. So we created a toolbox which will be launched very soon, where all those freelancers are in a list, and that you can request whether they will be working on your project. What we have is that we, of course, with our training program, we can tell you which ones are the certified sustainability reporting managers, and which freelancers just said, I want to work in this field, maybe have some experience with other training programs or knowledge, but we cannot guarantee their quality because we didn't train them. However, you can also just ask us like, hey, this is what we want, and then we will match you with a professional that is available and is working on the field that you want support with. Then we have, like I said before, like the junior project manager with CSRD knowledge that is, in-house, so really like within your company, working, helping you, just as operational support. But that the workshops are hosted by experts, which can be from Move to Impact or of our trained freelancers network. And those juniors are also trained by us, but they are like with the traineeship programs that they just came from university, and they got trained by us, and then they are having working experience. So therefore, like I said before, it's not as expensive as an experienced specialized freelancer. And then we also have the do-it-yourself tools. Like one of our tools is the virtual CSRD consultant. What is the virtual CSRD consultant? It's a structured online preparation program, which gives you step-by-step, like, okay, what to do. And if you have any questions, you can always email us. Then we will respond and help you. But then you don't need a consultant. You're having the program. The templates are included. So I kind of want to show you how this looks. Well, this is the virtual CSRD consultant. And well, we're currently in the materiality analysis, and it's always set up in such a way like you have information. Well, there are like videos we created in explaining what's to come. Then, well, visualizations, and always first information, like what do you need to know? Well, like I said before, if you want additional support, you can always contact us to have this support. And then it's about, okay, what to do. So it says a task overview of, okay, what are the different tasks and which support documents? Because like I said, things will be like a fill-in exercise. Then you also need, well, templates to fill in. And this is all about, like, for example, having questions that you need to ask, and then you can fill it in here. Boom, boom, boom. Having to list certain stakeholders, what to ask for them, having examples of what we did for ourselves. This is also a template that you can. So, well, as you can see, a lot of templates are in this phase. And then again, it's about the doing. So explaining, okay, this is what needs to be done, how to connect that. Well, describe, information. And this goes on and on and on with different tasks. And eventually at the end of each phase, there's always the checkbox, like, did you do what we are asked you to do, just to make sure that before you move on to the next module, that you remember, hey, this was not just about reading, there were certain things you had to do. So that's the virtual CSRD consultant. Well, what's also a possibility is that you are just starting with certain things, like you take the European Sustainability Reporting Standards, you're just reading it yourself, but you're like, okay, this is maybe a bit too complex or takes too much time. We also have loose tools and templates available on our web shop. One of the examples is the ESRA summaries, as in when you're reading the European Sustainability Reporting Standards and you're like, this is high academic, and when I mean high academic, I mean like it's quite complex language. We created like better readable summaries that you can put next to the ESRS to better understand, okay, what do people want me to do? Like, what needs to be described? Furthermore, the CSRD asked you to set up policies, but where to start? So what we did, we created like the most extensive policy on environmental and human rights, on policy, like the governance policies, code of conducts. We created very extensive so that you, as your management team, can just, well, read them and be like, okay, this is applicable to us, this is not applicable to us, or maybe this we want to extend this, but that you have at least a base to start from, instead of having to think from a blank sheet, as in, okay, what are we going to do with the policies, and are we adhering with the guidelines that the CSRD refers to? Because they ask you for policies, but it should also be, of course, according to certain, well, guidelines, as in the human rights that are identified by the United Nations, etc. So those are the policy templates which you can buy from a web shop, which is also easy to start. And furthermore, well, if you already have been collecting data, have been working on policies, but okay, how to start writing the report? We created reporting templates, which means it's just a fill-in exercises in, okay, how do we start writing about climate change? Okay, how to do that in a way that the European Sustainability Reporting Standards requires us. So we have reporting templates which make it just a fill-in exercise. And last but not least, data definition manuals based on material topics. Because, okay, when you identified in a materiality analysis, for example, our own workforce is material for the organization. What do we need to do? Like, okay, I see those ESRS, I kind of get it, but I still don't know what to collect. Well, we created a data definition manual, and I will show you one, which we then can, if you send us with what are your material topics, we will send you back the list of data points that you have to collect. For example, this is from S1 on workforce. We really looked at, okay, if you see here the data point, what do you need to, well, figure out? Like the number of permanent male employees, female employees, other gender, well, total number. So it's kind of like a grocery list, which is quite a long one, as you can see, with that you can send to, for example, the HR department, or maybe to your suppliers, if it's about external data, and be like, okay, this is what I want, but what kind of question do you need to ask? Well, we already set up the question, the survey question that you have to ask, as in how many fatalities occurred within your organization's own workforce as a result of work-related ill during the reporting period. So you don't even have to think about what to ask anymore, because we already thought of the survey question for you, which will save a lot of time. So these are loose tools and templates that you can use, which are, well, not expensive. So you can just eliminate a lot of time while working on the CSRD. Then it's, well, if you're not, don't want to be with a consultant, like the virtual CSRD consultant that I showed you, like, okay, I just want some general knowledge to spread within the organization. We created different e-learnings in order to prepare organizations with knowledge. The CSRD Essentials training is like a shorter version of the virtual CSRD consultant, more as in like, what do you in general need to do in order to prepare? This is like a 4-hour e-learning, and after that you kind of would know how to work with that. So what could also be an option is that you, for example, do the CSRD Essentials training, and then buy some of our loose tools in order to really feel in control, like how you as an organization are doing it. Furthermore, in our experience with clients, we noticed like a lot of IT departments are not involved in the CSRD project, but they do have a big role, like what is expected from them. So we created an e-learning which tells about generically, okay, what is happening in the CSD, but also how do they need to support the organization in order to set up the sustainability report. And also organizations that just want to know more about the double materiality analysis, like how to do that, just really like specific, they can do the double materiality analysis online training. Then, are there any questions? Yeah, Sebastian? You're on mute.
Apologies. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Thank you so much for the information shared so far. I wanted to ask something. I'm also coming from a consultancy, and I'm also exploring potential synergies and how we could learn from each other. And I wanted to ask you, would you argue that your offering is equally strong across all the aspects of ESG, or there are topics in which the offering is stronger, for example, on the environment or the social aspect?
No, it's really as in equally, because we focus on the ESRS in general. So it's not as in, oh, it's more focused. No, we really like did it. Now I showed you like from the social one, but we have the same for environment, since, well, the CSRD is not just about, well, ESG, it's like ESG in general. So no, we divide, we don't put a focus on something. It's like equally important.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, then I would like to thank you for this webinar. I don't know whether you filled in the quiz in the beginning. I think only Jade was there. So, well, we'll leave it there because we wanted to ask, okay, if you filled in the quiz, what is the answer, so then we can explain more about these parts. But Maya, do you want to say something?
No, I just put it on, but I'm a freelancer working in CSR already since 2008, and I already help companies with their CSRD processes. I was just wondering, I came across your company, and I was just wondering how maybe your tools can support me in advising and consulting those companies, or whether we can have like that I would be on your website as a freelancer, for example. I'm just interested in those things.
Well, like you said, like those, well, you can be on our toolbox as a CSRD. Then you didn't do the certification program, right?
No, and I was wondering what it involves, how much it costs, what it involves, how much time it takes, what happens. I mean, I guess I have a lot of knowledge already, so
Yeah. Well, we have like, if you have a lot of knowledge, you can eventually always be on our platform with like an expert, but then we don't have the, well, certified mark from us. Together with, you can like on our website look for the training, which takes, you have 6 training sessions from 3 hours, and in between it's, well, reading and preparing cases, and then eventually have an exam, and then you're a certified sustainability reporting manager. And next to that, if you want to use our tools within your consulting, you can just like buy them from the website, and feel free to use them, because we really have the mission to, well, activate organizations to make a positive impact, and therefore like we don't want to keep our tools for ourselves, but more as in, if everybody uses them, then, well, the world becomes more sustainable in a higher base, is what we believe in. So sharing is caring. So, well, you can buy those things online, except for the data definition manual that I just showed, that you have to ask like for a client, like what are the material topics, and then we will send the whole list with like the data points for the material topics.
Yeah, right. And how much does it cost, this certified program?
2,950. Any other questions? No. Well, then I want to thank you for your attention. Was not like there were a lot of signups, but, well, it's always at the end of the day that people maybe are like. So thank you, and if there are any questions, you can always email to csrd@movetoimpact.com, and then one of my colleagues will answer and help you further.
I'm actually.
So,
I just
Sebastian,
want to
you're
say,
on mute.
I just said thank you very much for the presentation. Quite insightful. Thank you for
Thank
that.
yeah, me too. I'm impressed. It's nice what you offer.
Thank you. Okay, have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.